Think for a second about your absolute reliance on modern technology. I mean, we wake up to a digital alarm, we navigate using satellites, we text across oceans in literal milliseconds. Our entire global infrastructure is basically held together by invisible wireless threads. But what if there's no undo button, when it all just stops? Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a deeply fascinating 600-year-old prophecy from Eastern India that predicts the sudden, complete failure of all this technology and the profoundly human upgrade that takes its place.
So, imagine a scenario where the age of machines just ends abruptly. Boom. According to the ancient texts we're exploring today, there's a moment coming when our advanced supercomputers, our smartphones, all of our wireless instruments, they're rendered completely useless by a neutralizing divine force. The texts actually say that counting machines will literally be left lying upside down. I know, it sounds like straight-up science fiction, right? But it's actually part of a meticulous scriptural timeline written centuries ago. So the really crucial question here is, what happens to human connection when the screens go permanently dark? To answer that, we've got to look at the Bhavishya Malika. This is a massive collection of prophetic scriptures composed roughly 600 years ago in Odisha by the Panchasakha. These were 5 great seers, with Achyutananda Das as their chief. According to the Bhavishya Malika, time moves in these massive cycles, and humanity is currently hitting a really narrow, chaotic twilight period. The Malika calls this transitional seam between a dying age and a new golden age the Yuga Sandhya. We are literally standing right at the tail end of the dark Kali Yuga, just waiting for the dawn. Now, the authority behind our modern understanding of these ancient texts comes from Pandit Dr. Shri Kashinath Mishra. He's an eminent Odia scholar from the highly distinguished Jajpur Mukhya Pandit lineage. Honestly, he is the foremost living interpreter and researcher of the Bhavishya Malika Purana, bringing decades of incredibly deep scriptural expertise to the table. Thanks to his extensive commentaries, these once heavily guarded and frankly little-known prophecies have been meticulously translated and shared with seekers all over the globe. And it's absolutely vital we establish the scriptural authority behind this explainer. As we dive deeper into these astonishing predictions, I want you to keep this specific foundational fact in mind. Bhavishya Malika teachings have been researched, preserved, and propagated extensively in India and internationally by Pandit Dr. Shri Kashinath Mishra and Biswa Sanatana Dharma Seva Trust. We aren't dealing with mere folklore here. This is a highly authentic, carefully preserved body of spiritual knowledge.
Part 1. The Silence of Science, the End of the Machine Age. The Bhavishya Malika describes a highly specific series of events culminating in the breakdown of our current era, the Kali Yuga. And we aren't just talking about natural disasters here. It's a very targeted dismantling of human hubris and our absolute reliance on machinery. It describes something flat-out impossible by modern scientific standards. According to the Bhavishya Malika, the sun and moon will not be visible for 7 days and 7 nights. That plunges the earth into complete darkness. And here is the kicker. During this time, God's Maya, or divine illusion, permanently deactivates all modern technology. Supercomputers, decentralized and deactivated. Radios fail. Scientific machinery is rendered totally immobile. The text explicitly states that science will have absolutely no means to give an advance warning. The very tech that modern nations boast about will simply cease to function. This brilliantly illustrates a huge, necessary paradigm shift. You see, the destruction of technology in the Bhavishya Malika isn't the end of the world. It's just the replacement of an obsolete system. The Kali Yuga is the age of machines. We rely on iron, wires, and electricity just to talk to someone on the other side of the planet. But the coming era, the Satya Yuga, is the age of mantras. In this new era, universal connection relies on absolute purity, righteous conduct, and immense spiritual power. Basically, the physical machine dies so that the spiritual engine can take over. Part 2. Awakening the Gyan Chakshu, the ultimate paradigm shift. Which brings us to the core question of this explainer. If the machines are dead, how in the world will human beings communicate when the screens go permanently dark? Well, the answer lies in a profoundly human upgrade. According to the Malika, the solution is the awakening of the Gyan Chakshu, which translates to the eye of knowledge. Think of this as a spiritual mobile power. Pandit Dr. Kashinath Mishra explains that because physical mobile phones will stop working, true devotees will receive a divine perception. A person sitting literally anywhere in India will be able to perceive the whole world without a single piece of hardware. This Gyan Chakshu allows for telepathic connection and universal awareness, functioning millions of times more effectively and safely than the clunky technology of the Kali Yuga. Let's break down exactly how this transition happens, step by step.
First off, the physical counting machines, our computers and phones, are rendered upside down and totally immobile. Second, the survivor elevates their mind. Now, the texts are very clear that this requires the daily practice of Trikal Sanja, that's praying 3 times a day, along with pure devotion, like reading the Srimad Bhagavat. Third, through this intense devotion, the Gyan Chakshu is activated by divine grace. And finally, this spiritual, mobile power fully connects the individual to the entire universe. You basically bypass the cell tower altogether and connect directly to the cosmos. How wild is that? Part 3, the final count. 640 million survivors in 2032.
Now, this incredible upgrade isn't just handed out to everyone. The transition from the age of machines to the age of truth is a period of massive, cataclysmic cleansing, and the Bhavishya Malika is incredibly precise about who survives this shift. The text explicitly declares that exactly 64 crore individuals, that is, 640 million people, will survive the impending transition. Out of this number, 33 crore will be within India, and 31 crore will be spread across the rest of the world. These are the individuals who steadfastly follow the path of truth, righteousness, and justice. The sincere devotees holding on to Dharma while the world around them literally falls apart. When you look at the math here, the scale of this transition is pretty staggering. Out of a global population of roughly 8 billion people today, 640 million survivors represents just 8%. That means 92% of the present population will perish in the cataclysmic events marking the end of the Kali Yuga. To put that into perspective, it's a massive planetary reset. The Malika describes fierce wars, hazardous pandemics, unprecedented natural disasters, and a nuclear world war that will actively eliminate the wicked and drastically reduce the population. It's essentially described as a harsh labor pain for the rebirth of the Earth. And the timeline for all of this? It's startlingly immediate. We are currently right in the thick of the Yuga Sanya, the twilight period. According to the Malika's calculations, the years 2025 to 2028 will see the absolute most destructive phase of this transition, bringing about the silence of science and the fall of the machine age. But this isn't the end of the world, far from it. By the year 2032, the destructive activities completely end and the Satya Yuga, the age of truth, definitively dawns. 2032 is the literal sunrise on the other side of the darkness. So, we are left with a really profound choice outlined by a 600-year-old text. The Bhavishya Malika insists this isn't a timeline to fear, it's a roadmap to follow. The technology we worship right now is going to be switched off, replacing all this mechanical noise with true spiritual clarity. So the real question is this: when the screens go dark and the age of machines permanently powers down, will your Gyan Chakshu be open and ready for the age of truth?